So this month of June is the men's mental health month. And normally we guys are always talking about how we have holidays and people just pass us off like, nobody's even going to talk about it and whatnot. So I was like, this month I'm going to take it upon myself and I'm going to talk about men's mental health. So when I got the idea, it was going to be more of like a 3-part series, but I was like, what am I going to be talking about for 3 parts? So I was like, let me do it to a 2-part series. First part to be talking about the problems, second part to be talking about the solutions. And then halfway through, I was like, this isn't it. This is not it. Like, I was just talking about problems and problems. I was like writing scripts like problems and everything. I was like, it's not what we guys need. Like, we guys, we don't need someone to be saying, okay, this is what we're suffering from, this is what we're suffering from. We need a framework to push through, because we as guys, we don't self-load. We don't talk about, oh my god, life is unfair to me. We don't do that as guys. We guys, we see a problem, we see an obstacle, we accept it and we push on regardless. So I was like, this material that I was working with before, it's too sympathetic. It's like, oh my god, guys, it's okay to be this, it's okay to be that. No, we as guys, we need to lock it in. We need to push that P. We need to implement pure focus. We need to focus on what actually matters, what's actually important. So I was like, I'm just going to do the first episode. No, I'm not going to be talking about any problems or like this is why life is unfair to men. Nah, I don't need that. We as men, we don't need to talk about that. We just need to know that, okay, this is the way forward and this is how we're going to push the P. And at the end of the day, we're all going to be fine because we as men, we overcome, right? So I was just like, okay, the first episode, we're just going to talk about that. And the second episode, I'm going to invite some guests or maybe a guest. And then we're just going to talk about it. This episode I had like a while back that I haven't recorded. So that one will be more of like a joint conversation, just talking about men in general and how to lock it in, like we as men, like how to navigate some certain kind of obstacles. I'm not talking about men as in like I'm talking about men in general, although, but this would probably relate more to the guys in my generation, like let's say 17 or 16 to like 29, 16 to 29, 16 to 27, 16 to 30. I guess that's like the age bracket that is this message is really going to hit. I'm not a 30-year-old man, so I don't know how life is for 30-year-old men. You grab. So I'm just trying to say something that I feel most men relate to, if not all men relate to, but most men would relate to. Like most guys, the kind of information that most guys need, right? So I'm not going to start with that. So at this part of the podcast, I would have highlighted, okay, the most common problems that guys face and this and that. I'm never going to mention it at all. We as guys, we know what we face, know how life is for us. We know the challenges and everything. We know how the society perceives us and what we are facing right now. And I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to be doing all this self-pity situation. No, we're skipping that part. We're going to the steps to how we can actually push that P, how we can overcome, how to fortify our mental health, and how to make sure that we don't get mental breakdowns or we don't feel sad, we don't feel lonely. Also, emotions is something we also need to talk about as guys, because I'm not even going to talk about it now. I'm going to talk about it now. Is that first of all, I was always a advocate of emotions. Like we need to feel something. We as guys, we need to feel. We're not like robots, like machines and stuff. For the most part, yes, we need to feel. But on the other aspect of it, we also need to realize that emotions get in the way of getting stuff done. And we as guys, we need to get things done. Like in the rain, in the storm, you always need to go to work. Like you always need to push that P. We as guys, we are born creators. We are born to push the P. We are born to do that work, So having emotions, like you wake up today and you're like, oh my god, I'm feeling sad and everything. No. You need to push that P. I know it might sound harsh or something, but it's something that we need to understand. And personally for me, if I had this 1 year ago, I'd have been like, this guy's, what's this guy saying? But I've come full circle to understand that as a guy, emotions are kind of a hindrance to you actually putting in the work, to you actually um making that thing work, or like pushing that P, getting those goals, or like checking off that list. Emotions are a hindrance. You don't feel like doing something, but you need to do it. It's not about feeling like it now. It's about needing to do it. I can say like, okay, I don't feel like recording a podcast half of the time, but I need to do it, and I need to do it, and I want to do it, and I have to do it, and now I am doing it. So is forget about emotions. Emotions are a hindrance. You feel like you don't want to do it, but you need to do it. There's a difference between feeling like you don't and needing to. So you need to push that work. You need to push that P. You need to be serious with your life. You need to look at what are the tasks I need to implement today, and you need to attack them one by one. Half of the time, I realize that half of the time I'm waking up from sleep. I'm not like the most joyous person. Like I don't wake up from sleep like smiling like year to year, and like, oh my god, today's gonna be a lovely day. Just like I said, I don't wake up being the most productive man in the world, but I wake up realizing that there's work to do and I have to do it. And that's what gets things done. And that's why you see the quotes, that's why you see the podcast, that's why you see the pictures, because I have tasks, I look at it, I'm not feeling like I want to do it, but I have to get it done. And that is something every guy should adopt. Like you don't want to make your emotions the number one factor of your decisions. You want to make it the need to actually get it done. You need to get things done. You grab. So as a guy, you forget emotions for a bit. Like emotions are important. You need to tune into emotions once in a while, but you need to get things done. All right. So now back to the main idea, giving you tips, like shedding a light on how to fortify your mind. And because this is for talking about men's mental health here, of course. So most of what I'm going to say is going to be relating to the mind, how to keep yourself in check, to make sure that you don't spiral, like go off the deep end and everything. So there's also something that just came to my mind is that you really can't feel depression when you have work to do. I guess it's relates to the emotion stuff I just talked about earlier, of like not putting too much precedence over your emotions, and like putting it on the fact that you have tasks to do, or you have work to do. And when you put priority of what you're trying to do on the work instead of your emotions, it's hard for depression to really hit. Depression is more of like a state of self-loathing where you feel like, oh my god, like things aren't working out for you and everything. But when you put it in the mind, when you put it in your mind, or like when you're focusing on the work itself, things go bad, things go wrong, you don't get some certain opportunities, things don't go in your favor. But when you're focusing on the work itself, it's very hard for you to self-load. It's very hard for you to feel sad about yourself when all you're doing is pushing in the work. So I'm not too sure about that aspect, but I feel that that's something you need to look into. That's something that, just like food for thought, it's not something that I am too sure of, but it's just food for thought. Just think about it. All right. So with any solution, it starts with the mind. And as much as we face adversities as men, you don't need to do some certain things. Like as a guy, are some certain things that you absolutely should not do. When I say should not do, I'm not talking about like, okay, this is like your framework for life and everything. But I'm saying that from my own personal experience, I feel that to actually put in the work, or to derive that level of output that you're looking for, you need to get some things straight. No self pity or loathing. You don't need to be like, the world is unfair to me. You don't need to be like, I'm inadequate and stuff. You don't need that. You don't need to focus on your inadequacies, right? That's one thing you don't need to do. You also need to understand that nobody's going to feel sorry for you. As a guy, like, you don't be looking for self pity. Don't be like, I want people to feel the way I'm feeling. I want people to understand that this is where I'm coming from, and that you don't need that as a guy. And nobody's going to feel for you. Nobody's going to feel pity for you. Like, everyone is so busy putting in the work. Like you can see, I have a lot of stuff I need to do. I'm recording a podcast now. I have some videos I need to do. I need to edit the podcast. I need to market the podcast. I need to upload it. I need to do a lot of stuff. So with the amount of work that is planned out for me, is it me that will now be feeling sorry for you when I'm like, I'm putting the work here. I have things that are not going well for me. I have things that are challenges. I have challenges I need to face. I have problems I need to fix, implement. I have tasks I need to implement. You grab. So I can feel sorry for myself now, but I'm not. I'm putting in the work. And I want you to put in the work. So with all this stuff I'm trying to do, I'm not going to have time to feel sorry for you. And that is going to be the same way with every other guy and every other person in the society or in the world. Nobody has time to feel sorry for you. So you need to pick yourself up and you need to start pushing in that work. No one is going to feel sorry for you. No one is going to feel sorry for you. That's the last time I'm going to say that. Nobody wants a guy that hasn't built something for themselves. Your value as a man in society is based on the problem you can solve or the resources you have. Like when I mean by resources you have, like maybe you have money, you have resources as in like intelligence, maybe you're smart, maybe you're good with certain things, maybe you have skills. So your value as a man equates to things that you have acquired for yourself. So if you don't have anything you have acquired, you're not valuable in the marketplace as a man. So you need to learn those skills. You need to have experience. You need to be in the fire. You need to have faced some certain challenges for you to have value as a guy. So that's something you also need to understand, that nobody wants a guy that hasn't built something for themselves. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything at all. Like, just like my dad was telling me some time ago, that you need to remove the mentality that you're going to inherit something. He was saying the story of how he came from Ilorin with just a bag. He came to Lagos with just a bag. He has said something quite nice for himself. And he was like, back then there was no inheritance. He wasn't inheriting anything from anybody. His dad had a house in Ilorin, but he left it. Like, there's nothing for me. I need to go and make this stuff for myself. And it's something I put into my mind too, that I need to make this stuff for myself. I need to make that. I need to have something going on for me. So there's no entitlement. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody's like, okay, because you're a guy, because you're my distant, because you're my friend, because you're like, nah. You need to stop that entitlement stuff. You don't need that, bro. You don't need that. You need to understand that nobody owes you anything. You are not entitled to anything. And everything that you would have as a man is something that you need to go out and work for. When you understand that, you are well to do. So another thing to understand is nailing the fundamentals. So like what I spoke about, the self-loading, nobody feeling sorry for you. Those are just some things that you need to understand as a guy. And I'm very sure that every guy has a different experience. So there are some things that I didn't say that you understand yourself based on your experience. So when you nail that fundamental, you also need to understand what is at stake and what you need to do. And I mean by what is at stake, every guy knows that if you don't push this P, if you don't get something going on for yourself, if you don't get the work done, if you don't make money, if you don't make a name for yourself, if you don't make yourself worthy of certain things, then we all know what's going to happen. We all know where this is heading to. We all know that if you don't have anything to your name or something, life is going to be a lot more miserable. So that's why you need to understand what is at stake as a man. People that are relying on you, your family, and people that you're going to take care of, your siblings, your family, your parents, and the family that you would create for yourself. Not just your cousins, like your wife, your children. So you need to understand that from the moment that you became a man, from the moment that you've been conceived that, oh my God, is a boy, you've already had certain responsibilities on you. You have certain things you need to do. You have certain things you need to implement. And you have places you need to be. So understanding what's at stake is very important to being a man. And like just understanding that, okay, this is why I need to lock in. This is why I need to push this P, right? So when I say lock in, I mean implementing pure focus, mainly for your goals or something you want to do. What I mean by locking in, I mean by focusing on the certain task you have at hand. Let's say you want to be a doctor. We all know that okay, if you want to be a doctor, you need to get into school, medicine, or maybe medicine and surgery, or maybe I guess medicine and surgery is for being a doctor. Maybe if you want to become a pharmacist, pharmacology, or anatomy, based on the medical field you want to be. So you know that getting to school, um, getting your degree, and then getting to work. I don't know the specific steps for being a doctor, but I know they have to do some training after school again. I don't know how many years that is before you get your license to be a doctor or something. So we all know that these are the goals, these are the stuff you need to implement. So when I mean by pure focus or like lock it in, what I mean by that is that you need to know, you need to identify these goals. You need to be like, okay, oh, I need to get to here, I need to get to here, I need to do this, I need to do that. You need to get there and you need to pursue these goals. So now the steps of like, locking it in and focusing on what you actually want to do. That's I would explain later why this relates to men's mental health and why it's so important to lock in and to actually have something going on for yourself. So you need to understand yourself, what you want out of life. Just like I said earlier, if you want to be a doctor, you know that this is the part of being a doctor. If you want to be a content creator, you know this is the part. If you want to be a software engineer, this is the part. If you know that you want to be a financially independent man by certain age, you know that this is the part. This is where you need to go to. So you always need to understand yourself, what you want out of life, and then you need to turn those into goals, actionable steps, day-to-day basis. You know that okay, if you want to be a content creator, you know that okay, you need to push out content. You know, what kind of content are we talking about? What kind of content do you want to do? You know, what kind of market? Is it YouTube? Is it TikTok content? You know, is it Twitter content? Instagram content? So those are the things you want to highlight for yourself, and then you also need to walk towards those goals. So it's one thing to say you want to be someone, it's another thing to actually go after it. You know, it's one thing for me to say I want a podcast. It's another thing for me to actually start recording those episodes. You know, edit those episodes, get it out, publish it. You know, market those episodes. So those are things you need to do. You also don't want to neglect some other aspects of your life, in the sense that there was this stuff that I realized about a year ago, 2 years ago, that to fully satisfy yourself, you need to hit these 3 points: the mind, the soul, and the body. So the mind, for defining the mind, is more of like understanding some certain things in life, just like the rules I stated earlier above. You know, reading books, getting knowledge, stoicism, understanding things that are within your control, things that are outside your control, self-awareness, and like just resolving certain emotions within your mind, like being logical enough to solve some certain problems, or like just understand some certain factors in life. When I mean by soul, I mean by doing things you love. So I like to talk about life. This is something I love to do. Recording videos, taking pictures, things I like to do. Those are things I really like to do. And then, doing things I love, it helps my soul, makes me feel better as a person. Like, I'm looking forward to something. I'm looking forward to doing something that I like to do. You might like to play football, that's your thing. Is it basketball, that's your thing? So making music, if you like making music, and that's something that hits your soul, that's something for you. So you need to also pursue that. And then your body, you need to focus on your body. You need to hit the gym, get your fitness up, eat healthy, eat good food, eat very, very good food, fruits and whatnot. So to like be full rounder, like to have a proper mental health, you need to hit those three. You need to hit those three, not at once, but simultaneously, depending on how your life is, So that's something you also need to keep in mind. And then when focusing on yourself, a lot of problems arise, mainly with women or seeing other people's stuff. So like there was this stuff that I realized, like LinkedIn is very, very weird. Like when LinkedIn is the first thing, is the worst thing you need to check in the morning. I think LinkedIn is something you can check in the night, but like in the morning, you just feel so. It makes you feel so bad. You just go to LinkedIn and see that everyone is doing something. Everyone is changing the world. Like like it's just this. It gives you this aura that okay, you're not doing enough, or like you're not pushing in that work. And then with women, in the sense of focusing on yourself, like I don't want to speak too much about women, because it just negates the point, or like it scatters the whole dynamic. But what I'm saying is that there's a time for women, and women will come. And I didn't realize this until I realized it. So if you don't get what I mean, that's fine. But it gets to a point where you realize that okay, women will always come, but the work is here, the work is now, and I need to do the work. And then you just feel comfortable being alone and just pursuing the work, and every other thing. So understanding those problems that arise, and the problem with seeing people's work is that on LinkedIn is that it's actually not a bad thing. You know, you might look at it that, oh my god, why am I not here? Why am I not where this person is? But you also want to look at it that if this person can do this, I can do it. So it should also be an inspiration for you. It should be motivating you that okay, these guys are doing stuff, and I want to be part of people that are doing important stuff in the world. So LinkedIn might be negative to some people, but you can also look at it from the positive side that okay, they are putting in the work, and I need to put in the work too, right? And then focusing on the work and looking forward to it. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not the happiest. Like I said earlier, I'm not smiling yet. I'm not like, it's not like a joy time. Sometimes I even like I'm sleeping, and like I need to wake up. I have stuff I need to do. Like that's it. So it's more of like looking forward to stuff. Like okay, this today I need to record a podcast. I need to write the script. I need to record a video. I need to edit some stuff. I need to work on some other things. So that is something you also need to looking at the work, or like focusing on the work and looking forward to it. And at the end of the day, the work gives you peace and purpose. And this was where I was heading to, like in a sense of why men need to lock in, is that at the end of the day, it is the work that gives you purpose. Like just like what I said in the process of, like it's a podcast episode, you can always listen to it. The process I was just talking about, it was very impromptu, but I realized that at the end of the day, it's just work. Like that's life. It's just going to be work. And you need to make peace. You need to find solace in the work that you're doing, and you need to enjoy the work that you're doing. And then it's the work that gives you peace. It's the work that you rely upon. It's the work that gives you a sense of direction in life. Because as a guy, when you're not doing anything worthwhile, when you're not doing anything important, it hits you very differently. There's sometimes that I don't have anything I'm doing, and like life is gloomy. Like I don't actually, I need to do something. I need to do something with my time. I need to do something in my life. So like at the end of the day, like locking in, it gives you a sense of purpose, and it helps your mental health. Knowing that as a guy, all this hardship you face is worth something, is meant for something. Like all the problems, all the challenges I'm facing today is meant to fortify me for the journey ahead. It's meant to make sure that I learn some certain things, I implement some certain things on my journey. So locking in, like focusing on purpose and work, it gives you a sense of direction, and then it helps your mental health, knowing that okay, this is where I am in life. The society is this, the society is that, but I need to lock it in. And that was the idea of what I was trying to like implement. Like no self-loading, no I'm a guy and this and that and the world is unfair to me. Nah, no, nothing like that, man. You need to understand that we as men, we face challenges, and then we walk around them, we solve problems, and that's who we are. We are builders, we are creators. We're not the take pity in me kind of guys. Maybe that's why guys don't even celebrate the mental health day, because you know that at the end of the day, we just need to push our P. Maybe that's actually it. Maybe guys are just too busy pushing the P. And as much as I want to be one of those guys, I just need to highlight it for all the other men in our generation, or just in my generation, that you need to understand that you're not alone. but you need to lock it in. You need to lock in. You need to lock in. So that's it. The work will make you feel better. That was it. And then also talking to your brothers sometimes, like that sometimes that I am my own therapist, let me put it like that. I talk to myself, I solve my own problems. But there's sometimes that you just need to talk to someone, you just need to let it all out. And I always take solace in the brothers, telling your brother how you feel. And as a guy, you know that I'm not here to solve your problem. Sometimes I'm not here to solve your problem. I'm not here to listen to you and make you feel understood that okay, this is what you're facing as a guy. I get you, man. But like you always be fine and everything. And if you always need me, I'm always here. So like sometimes talking to the guys, if you're the kind of person that feels like you need to talk to someone, like talking to the guys sometimes it just makes you feel a lot more better. And personally for me, like talking to the guys makes me feel better. So yeah, that's it. The work will make you feel better. That's literally it's like find solace in the work. You might think about it like okay, you're running away from reality, but at the end of the day, this is reality. Work is the reality. That's basically it. Although like you still have like friends, you have family, you have friendships, you have hobbies, you have some other things I didn't talk about on this, but I know that if you're listening to this podcast, you're smart enough to understand what I'm saying. And you're smart enough to logically assess where I'm coming from. And you're smart enough to also fill those gaps in with your own personal experiences. So yeah, that's the work, man. You need to lock it in. You need to push in that P. And I sound a little like Mangazi on this one. I always it was like just like what I wanted to say right now. I wanted to be like I'm rooting for you and everything. But yeah, man, I'm actually rooting for you. I feel that you could be someone worthwhile, somebody of value, and that would make me extremely proud. So yeah, thank you for listening to this one. It was a straightforward one, not too many side. Just straight from the heart, straight from the soul. And thank you for listening. And I will catch you in the second part of this. So yeah, take care. Peace.